Hi, my name is Glenn Alexander Thompson. In order that you may see who I am, I have placed a photograph of myself on the bottom left of the screen. Now, my natural voice is a slow Aussie drawl, so I am using a far faster computer-generated voice for narration. Now, on the screen now is photographs of the ANZ Bank directors around the year 2016. Now, for the reasons I am about to discuss, in my considered opinion, each of those purportedly upstanding people is either at the extreme low end of the morality scale or at the high end of the immorality scale. I'm not sure which, but certainly one or the other. Now, the reason I say that is because, each of them, individually and collectively in the ANZ Bank, per se, failed and refused to stand against the exceedingly serious high crime and corruption which arose as a direct consequence of the overtly corrupt conduct of an ANZ Bank subsidiary and its crooked solicitor, John Norman Price. They, instead, chose to let the high crime and corruption remain unchallenged, and to force the sale of my family home, while knowing full well, or not caring, that the corrupt conduct of the ANZ subsidiary, and the ensuing high crime and corruption, caused my default on my mortgage. Now, for my busy viewers, I am going to provide a brief overview, a more complete explanation, with exhibits as contained in the video which is linked to the end of this video. Now, in a nutshell. A few years ago, my family and I were the victims of an exceedingly serious property fraud which was described in the Victorian Parliament. The perpetrators of that fraud were a timeshare company and the predecessors to the Macedon Ranges Shire Council and Caliban Water. That fraud prevented me and the ANZ subsidiary, as mortgagee, from dealing in reasonably substantial land, owned by my family and me. So, the ANZ subsidiary, and its solicitor, John Norman Price, conspired with one another, and with the perpetrators named in Parliament, to commit perjury, and rely upon falsified documents, to deceive a tribunal into believing that the circumstances comprising the fraud were lawful and legitimate. They also conspired to have the tribunal disregard my accurate evidence. For those overtly corrupt purposes, the ANZ solicitor engaged the then junior barrister who is the now Major General Justice Greg Gard. Gard then knowingly made the agreed, flagrantly, fraudulently false submissions to the tribunal. That little conspiracy, between the ANZ subsidiary, Price and Gard, caused loss and damage to my family and me in the order of, probably about $20 million in today's money. Then, in 2007, at a Victorian Supreme Court hearing, before Justice Robert Osborne, I exhibited Gard's written submission to the tribunal and I alleged that Price and Gard had deceived the tribunal. At that time I was suing the Council and Water Authority, named in Parliament. Incredibly, in that proceeding, Gard was acting as senior barrister for the Water Authority. Then, for the purposes of falsifying my allegations against Gard, Justice Robert Osborne fabricated purported reasons for judgment which are manifestly and flagrantly contrived and false. In those falsified, purported reasons, Osborne essentially repeated and represented as fact, the palpably false submission that had been made to the tribunal. By those falsified, purported reasons, Osborne also concealed the overtly corrupt conduct of the ANZ subsidiary. Osborne then ordered that I pay the legal fees of the Council and Water Authority. Those fees came to around $1 million. I paid in cash. That left me short of funds and I soon fell into default on my home mortgage with the ANZ Bank. With great particularity, I put the particulars and evidence of the foregoing things to the ANZ directors and asked that they assist to expose the judicial corruption which arose as a direct consequence of the corrupt conduct of the ANZ subsidiary and its solicitor. I also asked for a moratorium on my loan. With sufficient ineluctable evidence of the foregoing things squarely before them, the ANZ directors refused to assist me to expose the judicial corruption and not to intervene in the forced sale of my home. So for a second time, I suffered serious loss as a direct consequence of the overt corruption of the ANZ subsidiary. Now, at the present time, 2021, there are 4 new directors. I have given up on the pointless exercise of politely writing. The fact of this video and the linked video will be communicated to the present board of directors. We shall soon see if any one of them has any courage and integrity. Now, the video which is linked at the end of this video is entitled, Corrupt Victorian IBAC Commissioner. With great particularity, that video sets out the things which were known to the ANZ directors when they refused to assist me and when the bank forced the sale of my family home. It is manifest that the corruption set out in that video only exists because there is a never-ending chain of individuals, such as the ANZ directors, who have neither the courage nor the integrity to stand against corruption. Okay, that's the end of this introductory video. Click the link to see what the directors knew when they refused to stand up and then forced the sale of my home.